Shot in front of a live audience at Margarita Republic, it's Shots from the Bench. And now your hosts, Bob Wiltman and Bob Murphy.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Shots from the Bench. It's only sports talk, and of course, all opinions are both fabulous and flawed. I'm Bob Wiltman. My partner is Bob Murphy, and Greg Malinzuk is behind the scenes, working the cameras and keeping the sanity. We're here at Margarita Republic in the beautiful Spanish Springs section of the Villages. The Margarita Republic, where the food, fun, and fellowship are always seated first. We're here every Monday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. So come on down, over or up, wherever you are. Come in and join us. And if not today, we sure hope to see you again in the future. Like I said, every Monday from 2 to 3. We challenge you to try to stump the panel when you come in. And we'll throw out plenty of trivia of our own. Try to stump the audience, as it were. And remember, we are the only sports talk show in the Villages. And partner, let's get to the NFL first. And the team that I think needs to be talked about immediately is the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings. All of a sudden, you got a brand new number one team in the NFC North, and Minnesota went into an Oakland team that was playing a lot better, and they were at home, and they just dominated them.
Yeah, they were. They did a lot of good things. David Carr, you're going in there with Amari Cooper and their running game, thinking that's a tough game, and it was for most of the game. They had, Adrian Peterson just went off. I guess
I guess he's back. I guess he looks like
he's having a good game
to
begin with.
He's back in pretty good form, I'd say.
It was a pretty close game back and forth.
Yeah.
Carr moved the team down the field, and Minnesota's defense, made him pay a couple of times with a couple of interceptions. But it seems like, especially toward the end there, when the Raiders were moving down the field, and he threw the ball, had him all the way down the field, and he threw that interception. And then the Viking cornerback knelt down in the end zone. They got out to the 20. The very next play, Adrian Peterson.
He breaks it 80-yard
run to seal the game, 30-14. But up until then, it was, they could, if they had gotten in and got an onside kick, they could have made things interesting.
Kind of nice to have a running back like that you can, count on maybe breaking a 50-yarder every quarter.
That's right. The thing about Peterson is, he's not like a Marshawn Lynch, where he's getting 4 or 5 yards a clip. He keeps pounding, then he breaks the big one.
Yeah.
He breaks the big one, especially late in games when the defenses are getting really tired. That's when he's got you. He's starting to hammer, and he picks up to another gear. He just moved into the top of all the NFL in rushing with that performance of 203 yards yesterday.
What you mean? Yeah, he's got what? He tied it. Was it OJ? No, who did he tie with? A 200-yard run.
OJ.
Yeah, it was OJ. That's good company. Mm-hmm. OJ's probably got him beat. OJ's probably murdered a few more people.
I'm a friend of OJ, but OJ.
OJ's got him beat in the murder category.
Yeah.
So that's
just one less thing for OJ not to be happy about, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But so that was a good win. Of course, the Panthers are number one in the NFC, 9-0, continually crushing teams.
It's not like they're eking out victories. They're dominating.
They're beating the Titans 27-10. And all
another
the Titans
good young up and coming team that had a big win last week, and
all the Titans can do is complain about how he dances in the end zone at the end of the game. And I love what Cam Newton said to him in the paper or whatever, Twitter or whatever way he did it. He goes, well, if you don't like me celebrating in the end zone, then keep me out of the end zone.
Keep me out of the end zone. That's right.
I think that's the greatest answer I've heard right there. I don't have a problem with, like you mentioned a few weeks back about excessive dancing and stuff. If you're losing the game, obviously you don't want to be dancing. I don't have a problem with anybody dancing if they want to, as long as they're not taunting anybody or anything like that. So that's then the Cardinals had what a game that was.
Well, I give Seattle a lot of respect, and they have a tough schedule to be sure, but the Cardinals impressed the heck out of me because Seattle I thought was on a roll, and Arizona basically hammered them pretty good, I thought.
That game looked like it was going to be Seattle's in the beginning. It looked like their defense was shutting down and sacking Carson Palmer and shutting down the receivers and playing that aggressive style that we've come to know Seattle's defense to play.
Oh, yeah.
But eventually they figured something out, and they started moving that ball and spreading that ball around and getting it out of there quickly. Instead of long drop backs, he was just taking one step back and throwing, and made the difference. And that was a 39-32 win for the Cardinals over Seattle. Seattle, I mean, we always think they're coming back. I mean, they lose a game, they get back to 500. So there's a lot of teams like that this year.
That's amazing to me that team has a losing record, but they have a losing record. So yeah.
So Arizona is tied with Minnesota at 7-2, right behind the Panthers, and then you got the Green Bay Packers. Ooh, 3 in a row they've lost.
I know they're playing. I know they're playing bad, but I suspect that they're going to be at the end, and they're going to be knocking on the doorstep.
Losing to Detroit like that. Wow.
That I think is going to wake them up. I can't help but think that they took them a little lightly.
And guess where they play this week?
Oh, that's
Minnesota.
That to me is the
Minnesota is not salivating over that.
That's the marquee game for both sides. Minnesota's salivating, and Green Bay has played 2 or 3 pretty paltry performances in a row.
Especially,
I think. I still question whether Rodgers is 100% healthy. Maybe he is. But I just think it's something that looks a little funny to me. That's just me.
That's the kind of game when they go into Minnesota that either, Green Bay's offensive line has looked porous. They've been sacking Rodgers, and their defense hasn't, been playing that great either.
Their defense I don't think has ever been great, but you're right.
That game there can go either way. I mean, you could have Rodgers come in and throw 5 touchdown passes.
No question. No question.
And you say, oh, what happened there?
Yeah, the last period and a half, they went up and down the field. I mean, that's impressive. But like you said, next week, they got some marquee games. You got Buffalo at New England. You got Washington at Carolina. And how about Washington? I've been tough on them, and I'm sure all the pieces aren't in place. Yeah. But that quarterback, he had one of the best games I've seen anybody have.
Kirk Cousins
on the
had
planet.
4 touchdown passes.
I mean,
they're right in the middle of the pack there in the NFC East. They're 4-5. The Eagles are 4-5. Giants are 5-5. They should be
8-2, but that's. I'll let Tom Coughlin address that.
Let's touch on that for a second, okay? The Giant game, okay, with New England. You talk about chances to win. Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
I mean, they should have won that game. They should have won several times in that game. But they don't clock manage very well, especially toward the end of that game. They're throwing passes when they should be running, eating up clock.
You cannot give Brady a minute to go 40 yards.
Absolutely.
That's you got to kill another minute on that clock somehow. And, I think that whether Coughlin, Manning, whoever you want to blame, I couldn't believe they threw a couple incomplete passes when they should have been eating that clock up. There's no question.
But that NFC East is an amazing, with all those teams all piled up. And the Cowboys are 2-7, okay? And we're going to write them off.
Can we please write them off?
Well, I know.
I know.
But you know
what?
Tony Romo comes back this week. What if Tony Romo runs the table the last 7 games or 9-7 in that division? He could win that division.
If he's capable of doing that, then they deserve it.
So a lot of times a player comes back and he just has such an effect, and he's one of those players I think that can do that. Look at Ben. We'll switch to the AFC in a minute here, but what Big Ben did over in the AFC, coming in off the bench. How's that for a bench player?
Against the Browns? Woo.
I would like to have him as a bench player. But I guess they didn't plan on playing him, but we might as well switch over there for us.
Well, we can. One of the things I want to talk about, talk about more key games. You got Minnesota, Green Bay, or Green Bay at Minnesota.
Yep.
You also got Cincy at Arizona. Mm-hmm. If that isn't, that's going to be a big money game.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one.
I want to see. What happens with that, because I happen to think that's a marquee game. Yep. But like I said. the team that I want to watch now is Minnesota. They're impressing the heck out of me.
Well, they're playing that old school type of football.
They really are. They really.
They say defense wins in the playoffs. Well, that's a good thing.
No big superstars.
An adequate quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater's only thrown 7 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions.
He keeps control of the ball. He doesn't do any goofy things. Yeah, that's the problem.
And when you have a running back like Adrian Peterson and a defense playing the opportunistic defense like that.
Good grief. I mean.
That makes the difference. And very similar to Seattle when they were playing good, when Russell Wilson didn't have the big numbers, but yet the defense played well and they had the good running back with Lynch.
Yeah, solid. Well, like I said, Peterson, I think, I want to give him a little more credit for being he's a special back now, and he's back, it looks to me, at full strength. And
he didn't play last year in the first few games.
That's what I mean.
He's getting 80 yards, 70 yards.
I didn't expect to see him back right away, doing 200 yards against.
But now it looks pretty
against a good team.
He's getting better every week.
Yeah, there's no question about it. So that's impressive, and I want to talk about a couple things that bother me. If we have to carry it over to the second quarter, we'll do that. In fact, why don't we do that? But one thing I wanted to throw out to everybody that's here in the audience today, and this is something we're going to be discussing in the third quarter, not second quarter. We want to hear everybody's favorite sports movie and why it is. So if you don't mind, we're going to throw that out to the bar. Like I said, that won't be the next quarter, but it'll be the quarter after that. I just like to hear about sports movies and why people love the movies they love and why they mean so much to them. So something that everybody's, I imagine we'll get a lot of diverse answers, but sports movies will be what we're talking about in the third quarter. But in the meantime,
interesting to throw in there what year that movie came out.
Well, if we can get that too, that'll be great. I'll tell you what, we're wrapping it up. The first quarter is winding down, but we will be back with the second quarter here from Shots from the Bench, and we'll be right back.